it's a long journey from there to now. It's a great journey, but it was a struggle. About probably 2003, we started trying to have a child, and you just think everything's going to work, and you put your eggs all in one basket going, well, it's going to happen. And a year later and 2 years later, it's still not happening, and you get a little frustrated, and you know, you keep trying, but finally, after a while, my husband and I were just, Mike and I were just, you know, we had reached our end, and we thought something's got to be done. We need to figure out what's going on. So we went to get checked by the doctors, both of us. We did all our tests, and everything seemed somewhat okay, but they did think that I was a candidate that probably would be good to go talk to the people at Genesis. I was 35 actually, and I'm 37 now, going on 38. So it was about 2.5, 3 years ago we went to Genesis, and well, I did. It was my process really for the fertility part, and yeah, that was probably about 2.5, 3 years ago, and we talked and we decided what worked best for us, or what would have been the best circumstance for us, was to do IUIs, intrauterine inseminations, to better our odds of getting pregnant. So I did about 6 months of IUIs unsuccessful, and I hadn't been to AcuBalance yet, but I had just heard about them because I was feeling really frustrated again, feeling like my body was letting me down, and I didn't know why. At the time, I was really health conscious, eating really well, working out, and I started feeling like something was going against me. Like, what was it? Why was my body letting me down? I should have been this really easy to get pregnant woman because I was doing everything right, so I thought. And so I went to Genesis, did the 6 months of IUIs, and unsuccessful. So they started doing a bunch of blood tests for me to check my FSH, which is the follicle stimulation hormone in your blood. And it was on the high side. So I guess 8 is normal. I was like at 10.5. So they would check me every couple weeks, and it was going up and up. And that's not a good sign. You don't want it to go up and up, because that's heading you towards menopause numbers. So when they finally got me to, or when my hormones went to 12.9, they said, we're uncomfortable, let's get a Clomid challenge, which is a drug that enhances your fertility and your ovulation. Let's do that, see how you respond. So maybe you're needing some enhancement drugs to help with your process. So we did that, and I thought for sure that would work, and then I was going to get Clomid, and here comes twins, possibly. You know, you hear the horror stories, or not horror stories, but the stories about multiple pregnancies. But with my situation, the Clomid challenge didn't work. What it showed was that after I did all the drugs, your levels are supposed to peak in the middle and then drop back down to normal, and mine stayed high. So what that showed them was that I was premenopausal at 35, which of course was a complete shock to me, because who thinks that's going to be them? You hear about it, but you never think it's going to be you. So they immediately started talking to me about IVF, doing in vitro fertilization, and doing the fertility drugs, not Clomid, but quite stronger, the real drugs, yeah, the real strong ones. And I just got panicked. I was like, my dream to have children is walking out the door. Oh my God, what am I doing? What's happening? Oh my gosh. So I immediately said, okay, do whatever you need to do. We're in this. At that point, I had been going to AcuBalance actually for about a month, because two of my girlfriends were having trouble getting pregnant, and they had heard about AcuBalance and started doing AcuBalance. And one of them successful, and the other one still fairly new to it and was continuing doing the AcuBalance, acupuncture. So at the time I was dealing with Lauren, and after my appointment with Genesis, and I was completely devastated and now completely panicked, I phoned Lauren and I told him everything. I was like, that's it, here we go. I have a super high FSH, and we're doing IVF, let's go, here we go. And he tried to reassure me, say, you know, that he'd seen this before. FSH is sometimes high, and acupuncture can bring it down, and don't panic, and stress isn't good, and let's work on you. Let's get your body and mind healthy. Let's get you prepared. You know, let's not worry too much right now. You're young, and we can work with this. And I just fear-driven fear-driven. All I heard was Western medicine saying, your clock is ticking, you have little time, we've got to do it. And that was it. That's where my mind went, because I was very new to Eastern medicine, and it was scared. I was scared. So Lauren understood, totally understood. He was great. Said, don't worry about it. I'll help you through this. We'll do it. We did all the acupuncture during the IVF drugs, which was really intense. Not the acupuncture, the drugs. First time, and being rushed in within a month. And the day came to check my follicles, which is the process right before egg retrieval. And I didn't have enough. You're shocked, you're stunned, you're laying on the table with your legs up. Worst time emotionally for a woman, and the doctor says, no, it's not, we're not going anywhere. So at that point, I was still sort of in a daze. I didn't really hear I don't think I heard what she was saying. So I said, should I do it again? Like, I'm ready to go. I'm committed to this. I'm good. I have the coverage for my MSP for the drugs. Like, let's do it. And she's like, I don't know why you would. You're not going to get any different results. I don't want us to look like we're just taking your money. I'm telling you, my medical opinion is you shouldn't be doing this again. Why put yourself through it? It's not going to work. And I remember just going blank and feeling numb and cried, and I did all those things that you do. And then I realized, you know what? I am not ready to close this door. My fertility it's here. I know it is. I've been dealing with acupuncture and acubalance, and I've been feeling great. I'm not ready to walk away from this. My dream is too important to me. It's too important to me. So at that moment, I decided my mental outlook was going to completely change. It wasn't about focusing on me being premenopausal and my window is closing and I just need to do it now to do it. It was about, I need to work on me, mentally, physically, work on my cycle, because I didn't have a very good cycle. I had a short cycle, which makes it really hard to conceive. So I went back in to see Lauren, and that's when I was introduced to Spence, who was my new caregiver. Just talking for 20 minutes, I just felt different. I felt different, like my life was going to be okay, and my fertility was going to be okay, and whether it worked or not, this was a healing process, if nothing else, working on myself. So we talked that day for a while and set up a program for me. 5 months worth of treatments, once a week for a while, then twice a week, and then I think towards the end a little bit more. And at 5 months, we decided that I was ready. I was ready to try again. My body was in night and day difference. My cycles were bang on. Ailments I'd had before wanting to get pregnant with my cycle or my body, my organs, any other issues I had were completely gone. I felt the healthiest I ever felt. I felt the most clear-minded I ever felt. I felt ready to do again the IVF emotionally and mentally that I didn't feel the first time. And I know it was from acupuncture. I know it was. So I phoned Genesis and I talked to the doctor and asked her if she'd be willing to see me again for a second cycle. And she said the same thing she said the first time. Yeah, I'm willing to see you, but don't get your hopes up. You're going to have the same result. I'm sorry to tell you, that's just your clock is farther along than other women. So I just said, all I need to know is that you're going to support me. She said, yep, absolutely. We'll support you for sure. Come on in. So I started the drugs again, still doing acupuncture through the cycle of drugs. And after my 2-week cycle of drugs, because they're 2 weeks long, I went back in for that ominous follicle check. And I went that morning for acupuncture, actually. Calmed me right down because I was stressed. I thought the doctor started scanning and she was like, oh. And I just lay there, I didn't say anything. Oh. And those were the best O's I'd ever heard in my life. I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, you have quite a few follicles. And I'm thinking, I had 4 last time, 6, 8. She's like, no, you have at least 13. Oh, 15. It was going up. So I had a lot of follicles. So immediately my skin was just like on fire, like goosebumps. One took, and it was my miracle baby. I know I wouldn't be sitting here, honestly, if it wasn't for the commitment AccuBalance gave to me.